The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Black Lincoln Collective, its guests, or decent human beings. You have been warned. The robot revolution will begin in 3, 2, 1.
They blow your butt up?
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Welcome to the Black Lincoln Collective podcast.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. We can stay up late, swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'll make it pop.
With your host, Parker. Featuring the sultry sounds of Fred and also Allan on the board.
Let's go already!
And now, let's start the damn show.
Welcome, one and all, to the 71st edition of the Black Lincoln Collective podcast. I am, of course, your host, Parker, and I am joined, as usual, by my main man, your boy, Freddie.
What's
How's
up?
it going, right, Freddie?
All right, we're doing good.
And, of course, Allan on the board.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't think he was going to get it.
Goodbye.
I forgot.
Today's the day.
I was waiting.
So we have got a humongous show for you guys tonight. Author David Edward is about to join us any moment now. As soon as Allan tells me, or Allan brings him on, we can't wait to talk to him about his new book and his 45 books, Fred. I've never written 45 pages
books
of something.
Yes, 45 books.
45 books.
There he is, Allan. No fanfare. You got to get the
fellas.
Where's the live studio audience?
That's like a $40,000 intro.
It wasn't until Allan screwed us up.
Did you guys write that music? That's like powerful stuff at the beginning of this thing.
Enough time tinkering, hopefully you get to something good.
Yeah.
So that's probably arguably the best part of every week is our intro.
This is the beginning?
Yes.
Well, the first 30 seconds are the easiest to get someone to watch, so I think that's a good strategy.
There you
yeah.
go.
Sure. So speaking of that, of course, that's YouTube knowledge, of course. So welcome to the show, Dave. How are you this evening?
I'm good, Parker. Thank you for asking. How are you, sir?
Oh, doing great. We're really excited to have you on. I'm excited to tell everybody, all of our listeners, check out Dave's YouTube channel. It's at A History Of. So youtube.com/@ahistory_of. And of course, you have your new book that just came out not too long ago, Atlanta Solved, the Final Definitive Proof. And you were telling, I know you hear it all the time, I'm sure. But so you were telling us right before the show that's kind of the information that you're covering on your channel.
Yeah. So A History Of, it's a brand new channel. I just launched it about 10 days ago. And the first thing I'm doing, the first season of it is, to do a deep dive into the Atlanta stuff, which is taken off pretty good. People seem to like it. There's a lot of good information in it.
Well, when I told the guys we were going to have you on, the first thing they said is like, oh my God, he's talking about Atlantis. So Fred is definitely interested in that. Allan is too. I think it's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
But they have some questions. We'll get to those questions maybe in a little while because I don't know if they're really honestly appropriate or not. But we'll build up to those. So Dave, you've written, you said 45 books now.
I've written 45 books. I just started writing books about 3 years ago. So I was busy, during the pandemic. What was I going to do? Right.
Yeah.
So I read a bunch of books.
That's crazy.
In fact, I use Grammarly to check, check punctuation and stuff. I won the Grammarly Writing Award like in February of this year. I wrote more words than anyone in a month that uses that tool.
Wow.
Right. Dang, dude. That's crazy.
It's easy. All work and no play makes, David Dullboy over and over.
So where did it start? Did you start with, I know you had said you've written some fiction and then some historical context or content. So did you start with the historical and then move into the fiction or?
No, I started with fiction. Fiction's easier. So the difference is fiction you can make up. You don't have to do any research or work on.
Yeah.
And historical stuff, it turns out if you claim something that, like there are other people that claim they know about it, and then they'll comment on it. So the fiction was a lot easier to get started.
Right.
The history stuff, I like ancient history. Atlantis, I consider it ancient history. I consider it real history. So I like that stuff. And that's what I do is I take my books And then I when I researched the books, like I did a book called Prayer Drum, which is here. It's like the fourth or fifth book in that series. And so I had to research what the prayer drum, which it turns out it's an ancient African drum that was supposedly modeled after the Ark of the Covenant. And they had it like in Mali and they had it somewhere else. And then there was a duplicate of it. So I said, I did all that research. So I wrote the history book about the drum of God. And then I included all of that in the story. So I kind of like was, doing double duty. So I wasn't wasting time on research. What's that?
Double dipping.
Double dipping. Yeah. Well, I'm a sleek, honed athlete writer, so no move goes to waste, right? Everything, there's no energy spent that isn't needed. So I do that with the books too.
We'd like to think that we're honed in some way, but we're
not.
So,
I'm not either. If I were to stand up, I would, you'd see.
So on those books, like for example, the ones you were talking about had what is Dick Lasher?
Dirk. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, the character when people get mad at him, they call him Dick Lasher, but that's inside the story. The character's name is Dirk Lasher.
That's another book, Allan.
That's a different persona that writes those books. Yeah, the Dick Lasher books, they sell good, but
there's no substance though. There's
there's very little substance. It's just very straightforward. You kind of know what's going to happen, but you want to take the journey with them anyway. Yeah. Right. The Dirk Lasher books, the Panama book starts with Panama Red, which we were talking off camera, and I have a military background, so I mean, saying it like that sounds all impressive. I mean, the truth is, I barely made it out of high school, and then I dropped out of college, but I was smart enough to know, okay, I can't just skate. They hadn't invented medical marijuana cards yet, so what am I going to do? So the worst, I have, I'm watching, I'm like, and I don't vape. I've got the pills because I'm old and stupid, but, anyway, but yeah, so I was like, what's like the scariest thing I could do? And it was the military. 'Cause I was terrified of it. I was a fat kid growing up in Florida, all that. And then I joined, when I joined up, it was 11 Bravo, which is an infantry soldier, like your classic, Army guy.
Right.
And when I went into that, you take this test called an ASVAB test, and I scored really good on it. So I did a week of the infantry basic training, and then they pulled me out, and then they moved me over to a different MOS, 97 Bravo, counterintelligence agent.
Oh, wow.
So then I had to do basic training again. It was just a week, but the first week sucked. So I did the first week twice, and then and then I had a what's the opposite of storied? I had a non-storied military career. I was a very average soldier, but I had a good job.
Right.
And then I was in Panama as part of the team that arrested Noriega, and we killed all the police. And we cleaned that up. That was kind of a mess. And then I went to the Soto Cano Air Base in Honduras. I don't know if you remember all this. This was during the war on drugs, and you had Iran Contra, which had just happened earlier. Your dad would have been there during Iran Contra. And they were flying into the Soto Cano Air Base, and that's where they were running the arms through, and they drive them up into Nicaragua to get them to the Contras. Right. Well, that's the air base I went to. And I was there after all of that, but they were still flying the DC-9s up from Colombia, and we were confiscating. I was attached to a DEA task force. So that was cool. And then when I was done with all that and I came home, the unit that I got assigned to, the 513th MI out of Fort Monmouth, 2 weeks before had been forward deployed over to Desert Shield. So I just got a plane it over there. So I was out of the country for 3.5 years. And then I was
Jesus.
Wow.
That's all right, though.
Yeah.
But you're home now.
Home now. Now I don't go anywhere. I've been everywhere. I don't go anywhere now. Yeah.
That's a good thing. You can go everywhere, and then you're like, I've been there. I don't need
I've been everywhere. Yeah, it's like Johnny Cash song, right? I've been everywhere, man.
I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah. But it's kind of cool. When I was in Panama, to tie it into Atlantis, I took I did the jungle survival training program, which is, I don't even know how I did it. It's one of those things you don't do it. You just don't die. I'm pretty sure
you survive it. Yeah.
Yeah. You survive it. It was 10 days. And at the end, they cut the head off a boa constrictor and everyone has to drink the blood. And that's the only way you're going to graduate. It was pretty gross. And it sucked because I was kind of at the end of the line. So all the blood was gone. No, so I'm having to squeeze it. That's a nightmare. But anyway, after that, I took a vacation. And I went into the Darien Gap, and about 2 days in, there's this big stone with like petroglyphs on it and stuff, ancient stuff on it. And I saw that, and that kind of like got me interested in things like Atlantis. Because when it's one thing to hear about it or see it on TV, but when you see this stuff in person, it's just like it connects you so much to the people, because they're just people like you and me. Right. Only, I mean, I complain if it's not 72 degrees and the air conditioning isn't on. I don't think they did that, but just as smart as us or whatever. So it was just interesting. Yeah. So I kind of took that with me, and then I used some of my travel. I went to go see like the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico City, and I went down to Peru and saw some stuff. So I used it being there to see stuff, and then I carried that with me, and then I was watching YouTube. I saw the Atlantis stuff. I was always interested in it. So I decided to research it and write my own book. And I had all that background kind of with me. So it was kind of great. Yeah.
Awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about Atlanta? I mean, I know obviously what Atlantis is, but
I like to tell me what you guys know about Atlantis, because it's one of those things I can blather on, but I'd rather hear what you know. We tell you you're wrong and explain.
All I know is it's an underwater city with mermaids and
Lost City.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the mermaid part isn't real, but like those are the.
You're 100%. You're 100% wrong, but you're the host. I'm being nice.
Really?
You're completely
mean to him. He's not the host.
I am not the host. I cannot host.
You all are hosts to me. I mean, to me, it's a bunch of smiling faces.
Okay, so yeah, same thing. Lost City. Obviously, I don't believe that it's inhabited by mermaids and mermen.
You said it was
merman, but but I do. I don't know anything really more about it. I know what I've seen in movies, seen on Futurama, which Futurama, of course, was the Lost City of Atlanta. Which was very funny. Because we're down here, we're pretty close to Atlanta ourselves. So.
I had someone ask me. I did actually had someone ask me if I knew where Atlanta was. And I let it go as long as I possibly. I said, I know exactly where it is. I've been there. The whole thing. And
they're like, "Whoa, oh my god, man!"
All right, so what Atlantis is a lot of things. In casually, if we're casually here, Atlantis is two things. It's an idea and it's a specific thing. The idea of Atlantis is that maybe during the last ice age or before the last ice age, maybe our human past goes back farther than we think. That's kind of the brand. That's the Atlantis brand. Have you heard of Graham Hancock? Do you guys know? Have you seen his thing?
I have not.
No. He's got a documentary series on Netflix. Have you heard of Netflix? I know you're in California. Oh, you have? Okay, you have. Okay. It's the number one show on Netflix right now. And it's called Ancient Apocalypse or something. But he goes over all of this. He's a very famous guy. And he characterizes Atlantis just as that. It's the civilization before ours. This guy, Graham Hancock, and I agree with him, think that something bad happened. And we have a date for it. It was about 11,600 years ago, about 9,600 BCE. It looks like something bad happened. And it involved maybe tsunamis and water and just earthquakes and a bunch of displacement. Right. It looks like it was really, really, really bad. So cities on the coast and stuff got wiped out.
Right.
Which is why we have a hard time finding them. He would argue, and I would agree with him again, that during this last ice age, okay, we'll do the math. So an ice age requires ice. Right. So, well, I don't know. So, and the ice,
our understanding, yes.
And the ice comes generally from the oceans.
Yeah.
So when you have an ice age, it means you have lots of ice on the poles, the North and South Pole, or at least one of them, which means there's less water in the ocean. So if there's less water in the ocean's lower. And they think it was lower by like 400 feet. I mean, like a big number.
Right. Yeah.
So where I'm in Florida, and if the ocean was 400 feet lower, there'd be like almost twice as much Florida. It extends into the Gulf.
Yeah, it wouldn't be any Keys. It would just be Florida.
No, it wouldn't be any Keys at all. Yeah, just be Florida. It wouldn't be any Everglades. Yeah, it'd all just be Florida.
Right.
But then if the water but then everyone buys the beach homes, right? And that's where you set up. And then if the water is 400 feet, all this stuff would be underwater. And So the question is, why don't we find anything? And the counter to that is, well, have we really looked 400 feet off of all the coast? And the answer is, no, we haven't. So that's kind of the mystery of Atlantis. It's supposedly something bad happened to it. It sunk into the ocean, and that's where you get into Aquaman. Have you seen Aquaman?
Right.
What's the one they just did? Black Panther. They had
Namor.
Yeah, same guy. Same. It's just like Aquaman, but they all come from Atlantis, right? And they're always blue people, and they're advanced. They have nuclear submarines and lasers. So that's Hollywood. But yeah, the idea of something in the past that we can't find that was advanced, not like we are, but maybe like Rome.
Sure, for the time,
something like that. So that's kind of Atlantis. And in the book, what I do is I go through the source for the story, which is from this guy named Plato, and I kind of say, okay, let's assume he's telling us the truth, that what he believes, because he says he believes it to be true. Let's say he believes it to be true, and if we take it as truth in history, what can we figure out where it is? Right. And then, of course, I do figure out where it is, so I can tell you where it is if you want.
That was going to be my next question, but I didn't know if I didn't want to spoil.
Hey, I don't want to spoil your book. I mean,
well, you know what? Can you
give us a region, maybe?
What's that?
Maybe in the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, now that's a very studied and intellectual question, answer, whatever. So what we know that Atlantis has a relationship to the Atlantic Ocean. Matter of fact, the king of Atlantis was named King Atlas. And they named the Atlantic Ocean after the King Atlas. They named Atlantis after King Atlas. Now, here's the interesting thing as we start to hone in on it. Do you know there is a mountain range, a big ass mountain range in Morocco called the Atlas Mountains?
Wow.
I was not aware of that.
It's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
And we can take pieces like that, all and I line up there's like 50 pieces like that. Line it all up. The place that fits what Plato said is this thing called the Richat structure, Richat, which is in Mauritania, which is in the Western Sahara, and Mauritania is below Morocco on the coast, the west coast of Africa. Right. And I can speak for hours going through all of the details on why that's where it is. Yeah. But basically, the thing we find, if you go to Google and you type in Richat and go to images, you'll see the images of this thing. It's a very famous location. Many people have thought it was Atlantis, but no one's proven it. They didn't do all the diligence. And the first thing about Atlantis that a lot of people know is that it's like a ringed city, right? So there's like a center island, and then there's alternating concentric circles of land and water. Right. And in 9600 BCE, this Richat thing in the Western Sahara would have been in a rainy environment, so it would have been in a lake. So it would have been pull it up.
Maybe.
Teasing you. You still using dial-up? They have a new.
Well, I know what you're talking about. He froze. Talking about the ring.
Yeah.
I know. I remember seeing they talked about that the ring and when you said the King Atlas and all that. So a lot of people think it's like in the Bahamas side, but I've heard people say that it was in the other side based on because Plato knowing.
Well, what Plato tells us is that the Atlanteans. They became warlike after a long time. They were advanced, but they became warlike, and they conquered Libya and all the way up to Egypt, and they conquered the northern part of the Mediterranean, Europe, and all the way to Greece. And then the Greeks, and when we say Greeks, they're really Proto-Greeks. We can get into there's lots of historical nuances where historians get mad at you if you influx a word wrong. So it's not really Greece, it's like Proto-Greeks, but whatever. We know there are people there. Right. And those people beat the Atlanteans back all the way to their capital. So what I always tell people is the Atlanteans are kind of bummers because they weren't very good at war. They lost to these Proto-Greeks, and all that. So, but when you look at this place, so we found what they call Neolithic tools. Now, Neolithic is, it means, Neo means new, and lithic means about stones. So new something about stones. That's really just the Stone Age. It's the new Stone Age. Right. And it's in 9600 BCE, we were in the new Stone Age. So people were cavemen, basically. Right. We were also in what they call the pre-pottery Neolithic. So this is the part of the Stone Age before people figured out they could get dirt wet and cook it and make pots. So everything was made out of rocks. And we find all that there where this Richat structure thing is. And then if you look at it and you imagine it as in a lake in this middle of this beautiful fertile plain, you can grow anything. And there are people there. I always say, well, the people weren't idiots. Why wouldn't I would go live on this thing? I mean, this way the saber-toothed tigers aren't chasing me around and all of that. I mean, it's like the most beautiful place in the world to live, kind of. So that's where I think it is. And there's obviously the book details all of that, and it addresses some of the criticisms, because there's criticisms of this location too. It kind of gets into there's a whole world, just like everything else. There's a whole world, just like punters or kickers, the field goal kickers in the NFL. There's a whole science to how the ball is placed and where the laces out, the whole thing, right? So there's a whole world in the Atlantis world of nuance and details and stuff. But that's kind of the gist of it.
So check out what your Amazon page is probably the best way to pick up your book, or is there a better way to
frequency99.com is the publisher's website. The 9's and numbers, so frequency99.com. I think that's got links to the podcast too.
Okay.
Or not podcast, the YouTube channel. I know you guys are podcasters. I am video blogging. I don't know what the hell I'm an old guy. I don't know all you kids in your terms. I don't know. Get off my lawn.
No. Yeah.
No, I know. My son tells me all the time about things and especially YouTube, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. He's like, Mr. Beast did this or that guy, and I'm like, I don't know what those words mean, son. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So Dave, which do you prefer? Do you prefer to write historical books, or do you prefer fiction?
I prefer to write the fiction books. They're a funner experience to write, and there's less people who have a negative opinion about what they're talking about. And I said, it's like Atlantis. I was so naive when I entered into this space. It's just like Atlantis is just like politics. It's just like, we have people that really believe this or that, right? Left or right, all that stuff. Yeah. And Atlantis is the same thing. There's 10 or 12 different locations around the world that different people think is Atlantis. Mm-hmm. And man, if you think it's A, or if I think it's A and they're in Camp B, it's a holy war, man. I had one guy call me. And this was back when I had my phone number on the website. And he's crying. And he's like, dude, why are you taking this? He's like, this is all I have. Why are you taking this away from me? Oh my gosh. I'm like, who is this? What are you talking about? What? And he's like, yeah, I did a regression and I was the assistant scientist who ran the death ray crystal. When Atlantis blew up, and I remember I was in there with the main guy, and I was telling him it was going wrong, right. and now you're here. You are you're systematically unraveling all that. I'm like I don't know.
Are you the guy bringing my pizza? Is that what's going on?
Sorry.
But it's just weird. I'm like, well, I'm just doing it because I think it's interesting. Yeah. And I think that as a society, it'd be good for us to kind of know our true past kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
But I certainly wasn't trying to make some 75-year-old guy cry.
I made an old man cry.
Yeah, I made an old man cry. Yeah. Atlantis is evil, man. It's evil.
I guess, like you said, I mean, that's, that story's as old as time, for as far as everything's concerned. And so, I mean, everybody grew up here and whatever. And I guess you kind of, you make your decision,
Well, this guy I was on, have you heard of Coast to Coast AM? It's a big show.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on that. This guy actually called in when I was on it. So you can listen to the first time I met him, then he called me after. And I'm like,
took a number down after that.
Yeah, you pick up fans. Everyone thinks they want to have fans, right? We all want to have subscribers and clicks. No. You don't really want fans.
No,
I want the way far away number rolling up, but I don't really want fans because they have opinions.
Yeah,
sure, yeah. No, we live in constant fear of being canceled for saying something stupid. But
it
doesn't matter.
It's almost impossible. This isn't a challenge, but I'm not on any social media. I told myself I'm off of everything. My publicist handles everything.
Right.
Amy,
lovely lady.
Yeah. And it's because just like I'm trying to sell books. I can't risk.
You got to focus,
saying something and then someone not wanting to buy the book because of what I said.
Right.
I didn't mean it. Buy the book.
Exactly.
Find out more about what I said in the book.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, man. So, can you tell me a little bit about the Abraxian Wars? Did I say that right? Abraxian?
Oh, the Abraxian Wars? Man, you did your research. Oh, you're looking at me. You're looking at my author page, right?
No. I was looking. I'm interested, man. I love to read, and I have a 10-year-old son who's just starting to get into reading really hard. So I'm trying to like encourage, and he likes cool, like, sci-fi kind of.
It'd be a good book one. All of my stuff is clean. It's PG at worst. It will get a little violent, but there's very little sex, and there's practically any bad language. There's enough in the story, but when they go in the bedroom, the door closes. It's not that kind of book. So it's very safe for kids. I think the sci-fi book is great. About half the people that read it think it's shit. The other half it kind of resonates with, but it's the kind of sci-fi I like. I mean, it is like deep hard sci-fi. Right. So yeah, and everything I do kind of revolves around something in history. The Abraxan Wars, the idea behind it is 50,000 years ago, the solar system was populated and there were races and people and wars and a whole thing going on. And then this one group is a group, they call them diggers because they've got to go dig resources on the mineral planet, which of course is Earth. We don't call it that. But yeah. And then of course, chaos ensues and there's robots and laser fights. And I think I love it. I read it. I mean, I read my stuff. You have to read your stuff. I probably read that book like 15 times.
Really?
But the Abraxan Wars. And then, and there's a bunch of short stories too on that.
Well, say it's like it's a series, right?
Yeah, well, I think there's 8 or 10 short stories, and then there's 3 books in the series. The actual main book is free. You can download the.
Cool.
Yeah.
I downloaded it. A couple days ago. Yeah.
Go to frequency99.com and download the Abraxan Wars, and we'll read it together. Listeners, we don't interact with us. Book club. Don't talk to me. But listen to me.
And the good news is with my books, you won't learn anything.
There you go.
No learning.
That hits us right in the sweet spot, Dave.
Right up my alley.
And that's funny that you say that because you're like, half of mine are historical and educational. The other half are just for shits and giggles.
Just for fun. Yeah, no, the historical stuff, obviously you learn something. And it's actually not true. The fictional books, you will learn all kinds of stuff, but you have no idea you're learning it. Because I make the story around, like I've got the other one, the Purgatory Oaths. I think that's free too. And that's all 3 books. And that's starts in 1875 Colorado Territory, right before it became a state, and then it goes into the Roaring 20s. But it's cowboys, gunfights, ghosts.
That's awesome.
It gets a little kooky with the spirit world crosses over, and we learn about all kinds of things. But
it's got all the good stuff.
I write pulp. Which it's the stuff I like to read and the stuff I read as a kid. Which is it's a good story, it's well written, but I don't need to. I don't have to learn, or there has to be a moral delivered in every single thing that I do and everywhere I turn. So it's escapism, which I think we need right now.
Yeah, we could definitely use more of it.
I think so. Yeah.
Who are if you had to say, and you don't have to name if you don't want to, but who would you be like your writer influences? You know what I mean? Who are you?
Well, the guy I read the most was a guy named Lawrence Block, and I think he might be 88 or 90 now. But I actually wrote to him like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and he wrote back, and I've sent him maybe 3 emails, and he has written me back 3 times, which is I can't believe he does it. I try. I'm humbled by it, and I can only hope I could be that gracious to people.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he's a genius. He's a brilliant writer. He did Walk Among the Tombstones. It actually got made into a movie with Liam Neeson. They made a movie. Liam Neeson, but it's the book. The Matthew Scudder's the character, and it's just fantastic. Yeah. So I like that. I like John Sanford. The first maybe 10 Prey books, then it got stupid. But that, and then I mean that's it. And otherwise, I usually read comic books, and Terry Pratchett. You ever read Terry Pratchett?
A little bit.
Discworld. I've read all like 25 books. I've read them all.
I couldn't. It was too many. Too many. Yeah. But that's amazing, man. No, we always like to know because some people listen to they like I said Terry Pratchett or somebody, and they're like, oh, well that's gonna that's gonna lead me into you. So that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, so tell me a little bit, if you don't mind, how cool was it to have End of Reason reach #1 on Amazon and Kindle?
That was cool. What was really cool is the Atlantis book reached #1 in the ancient African history category. Oh, wow. And it was 2 spots ahead of this guy, Graham Hancock, who's world famous for like a month. So that was That was cool.
Yeah, that's a big achievement.
Panama Red actually made it into the top 100 of all books on Amazon.
Wow.
Not for very long, but for long enough.
Hey,
so,
still got it.
Yeah. So that was amazing. So I'm they kind of kiss it and then they fall off. Fall off. But the end of reason I think that was the first one that did it, and it's really weird because you're staring at it, you're like, how is this number one? It's a stupid story about space marines invading a spaceship. Who even knows who wrote it? But so I've had 4 or 5 hit number one. That one was the other one, Unreasonable. The one that came out after that was like number one as a pre-order for like a month, which was pretty cool. Yeah, so
that's amazing, man. That's really cool.
Overall, if you count all my books, I've sold like about 125,000 books.
That's amazing, man. That's awesome.
100,000 are this one, Panama Red. That's the one that took off ish.
Yeah,
I mean 100,000 is not,
dude. 100,000 is amazing. Don't sell yourself short, Dave.
No, it is. It is amazing, but it's not Stephen King numbers. It didn't break me into it, but it got me so I understood what it is. I see what I'm playing for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that one of the first books you wrote, or
the first book I wrote was called Alamosa, which is a Western, and then I wrote. Then I did the sci-fi, and I did a bunch of the sci-fis, and I did the short stories because I wanted to be able to write action better. So actually, some of those sci-fi short stories were me learning how to write action.
Oh, okay.
And then when I had those done, I did Panama Red, which felt, so I was mature enough as a writer, and I was holding off all my personal experiences. It's not autobiography, but I mean just write what you know kind of thing. Right. So it takes place in Panama in 1988. So, when they're raiding the PDF stations or they're in firefights or in helicopters, it's all stuff that I saw firsthand. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm told, everyone tells me it comes through. I didn't realize it was going to come through. They even tell me it's kind of a dark book. I thought it was a fun adventure book. So the next one I did, which you can't see, called Drive Faster, is pure, because I made a pure adventure. I mean, I didn't want it to be deep and heady and all that. That's not what this series was supposed to be about. But what wound up happening was Panama Red, the first one, Panama Red, and the middle one, Ground Game, and then the last one, Down Ballot, were kind of dark and that's not what they are. But they're more bad things happen. It's harder for the characters, and then the two middle books, Prayer Drum and Drive Faster, are much more adventure-y. I think Prayer Drum is my best book. I love that book. It's like Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Dorian Gap. So, yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can see. Yeah. I mean, they all, and you can see they do pretty good. They don't have a ton of reviews.
Dude. No, that's great. Hey, I mean, in the world as big as it is, and as many people are efforting to do this stuff, I mean, you got to take your victories, man.
Yeah.
Well, like we definitely feel that. I mean, we're just we're a little podcast here, but whenever we do something cool or something exciting, we're like, hell's yeah, man, we did something.
Absolutely. And you got to keep doing. This is episode 71 for you or whatever. Right. That's what I learned. I always used to criticize. So, I mean, look, guys, I was president of Aspen University for years. I've got a PhD in engineering. I've got 3 master's degrees. I mean, I've done it all. I was a CIO at Marriott, the hotel company. And I used to tell people, I used to get mad at people and I used to dress them down. I say, look, I don't give a shit whether you want the next job. I need you to do this job.
Right.
And I realized I was doing the same thing that I criticized all these people for, because I'm like, I'm an author, I'm doing all this stuff, like you said. And I'm like, I don't want to be an author. I want to be a famous author. Well, that's the next job. Mm-hmm. You got to do this job. Just like you guys, you want to be, we got world famous podcasters. Okay, well, you got to be podcasters first.
Right.
And then you can be
free
world
dinner,
famous.
Man, that's really all we're going for is free dinners occasionally.
Free dinners? Well, okay.
I mean, that's a bit. That's a win. I would like to have a sandwich named after us personally.
I saw that. We talking about that in your last one?
We talk about
okay, yeah, I'm having deja vu. I watched it too close to this. Yeah.
But no, I mean, like you said, yeah, it's hard, and you just gotta, you gotta work hard at what you do, no matter what it is, and just toil away.
Yeah, and don't get discouraged, and don't get mad if it doesn't happen for you, if you don't have the luck. Right. And I always tell people this, and now I'm having to live it. Don't look in someone else's pocket. Just because someone else is doing what you're doing, and all of a sudden they're having success, and they didn't work as hard as you are, and you're not. So what? Right. It doesn't matter. All you can do, pedal the bike.
Nobody's journey is the same.
Yeah, and just don't look in someone else's pocket. Don't just because I'm an old guy, and I'm on YouTube competing against kids. So, but you got to do it. Is it embarrassing? A little bit, but you just got to do it.
Well, I'm sure it's got to be the same thing. Like, for us, it's the same thing where we felt, it was a little scary and a little, he said, embarrassing when we first kind of put ourselves out there. You know what I mean? And said this, like, gave ourselves to the world and said, here, do with us as you will. Right. And like, you know, and it can be discouraging. It's definitely scary, but you kind of, it also helps you to develop that shell of like, you know what, it doesn't matter what people say we're doing.
Well, you have to, and that's something else, you know, every criticism hurts. So no one is like, I'm criticism proof and all that. Right. But I've gotten criticized a lot and I've gotten to the point to where I used to feel it. I don't feel it so much anymore. It always disappoints me. But what I've learned is listen a little bit because there's probably a grain of truth in there. And I'm now aware of the pattern. The pattern is always like someone will say, I went to read the Atlantis book and I thought it was going to be the greatest book ever. And this was a chance to save the world. And this fucking asshole typed this shit instead. I want my money back and I wish he would die. It's like, okay, I got the pattern. You didn't like the book. And now you have your pile on trying to make me feel bad.
Right.
Or
so you didn't understand it or
whatever. Yeah, it's not for
they didn't agree with it, you know.
Well, that's it. What does irritate people with the book is I took a very academic and scientific structure to it. So by the time you get to the conclusion, many people don't like it. But they're so frustrated because it's near impossible to go back through the 50 points and everything and unwind. They don't know why they don't like it, and they don't disagree with any of the logic in it. But they don't want that to be the answer. Right. I get that a lot. Right.
Oh man, I want to buy this book.
It's the only way to do it, especially with something like Atlantis, which is kind of Kooksville. It's not Kooksville.
Yeah. Well, it's a certain fringe of people, that enjoy it, and that's amazing.
I enjoy it. I love it.
That's really cool. Yeah. I honestly, dude, I'm enjoying and loving talking to you about it. Honestly, having a great time. It's so cool that you. It's just really cool. It's cool to hear about your process and hear all the crazy stuff you've been through. And like you said, dealing with being in the public spotlight can be hard on a lot of people. So hearing because really said we feel the same way. We're like, whatever, dude, just okay. Yeah, if you don't like us, that's fine. But you listen.
If people have only said generally nice stuff to you, and you have believed them, it's going to be really hard to be in the public spotlight.
That doesn't happen.
Well, as long as I mean, look, I've been married for 20. I don't know, how long have I been married?
We'll beep it out.
25 years, something like that. Whatever it is. So I'm used to not being right a lot.
Right.
So I just take those lessons and I push them out into the Atlantis world. It
inspires your writing. Well, Dave, thank you again. We're going to take a quick break, but it's David Edward, youtube.com at a history of and frequency99.com. Check out his books. I'm going to start downloading some tonight, and me and my kid are going to start reading them. And we would love to have you back on sometime soon. If you got anything coming out that you'd like to talk about, feel free to, we'd love to let you, pimp your stuff.
Sure. Yeah. You know what? Hey, and if your kid really is getting into reading, let me know. I'll send all my books signed to him.
Oh, that's amazing, dude. That's absolutely amazing. I will absolutely take you up on that offer.
Yeah. I'll send the Atlantis book too. He can be the first of the next generation.
He will too. He's like his mother. He's stubborn. So once he decides that something like if he reads that, when he reads it and he says, I agree with him. There you go. No one can ever talk him out of it.
Right.
Okay. So good. I can start bringing on some of these podcasts with me because sometimes they're not as nice as you guys about this.
Whatever. Like I said, for us, it's like an adventure, and it's just awesome to be able to talk to somebody who's doing something cool.
People. Yeah, because it's Atlantis, man. Everybody knows about it.
Well, more so than that, I mean, it's just you have, and not to be gross or weird about it, but I mean, like authors and stuff like that, you just have just amazing brains, and like it's so nice to. We had a few weeks ago, we had a movie producers come on, and they were really, it was just so cool to hear their perspective on what they do. And the same with you. It's great to hear your perspective on things.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, the truth of the matter is though, it's just like, look, I've dug a lot of ditches. I've dug a lot of footers, and it's the same exact muscle, writing books or pretty much anything. And no, it is. Sure. It is. Cause I mean, look, it's 9:30 in the morning. It's freaking already 90 degrees. You got 20 more foot to do. You don't want to do it, but what do? You do it.
Yeah, you do it.
And that you get up, you go, and I think that's the key to life. Yeah. If there's anything if I have any message, do the work. That's it. Do the work.
I agree.
And after that, I don't know what's going to happen to you, but do the work. And the answer is always to do the work. If you're unhappy, do the work. If you didn't get promoted, do the work. You know what I mean? It's just that's always
doing it. Yeah, just do it no matter what. Keep working at it. Well, Dave, again, thank you very much for coming on. We had a great time, and we'll make sure to put everything in the description for the listeners, and we'll love to have you on again sometime soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I got another book coming out probably in about a month.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll get it scheduled. I'll talk to Amy and get that scheduled then. Great. All so again, David Edwards, frequency99.com and youtube.com/history of. The book is Atlanta Solved.
Atlanta Solved. There it is.
And you got to check it out. I'm going to definitely be checking it out. We'll be right back with some more of the Black Lincoln Collective podcast.
The Black Lincoln Collective podcast will return after a word from our sponsors.
Hey guys, Satan here. I can't help but notice that some of my evildoers have kind of slacked off since the pandemic. That's okay, because when things get slow down here, I just throw on the Ryan Hates Everything podcast. If you'd like to see for yourself what we have in store for you down here, just listen to Ryan Hates Everything. Because if you laugh at that shit, you will surely go to hell. New episodes every Friday, now on every major streaming platform. Ryan Hates Everything.
You're listening to the Black Lincoln Collective podcast.
Welcome back to the 71st episode of the Black Lincoln Collective podcast. Fred, I am so psyched up that we had David Edwards on.
Yeah, man.
I seriously cannot wait to start reading his books.
Right.
I'm into it, man. Like, I love this stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys check him out again. It's frequency99.com, Dave Edwards on Amazon, or youtube.com/@a history of. And of course, you can also check us out while you're there. youtube.com/@BLC Podcast. That's us. BLCpodcast.com. I forgot I could do an announcer voice, Fred, and so I'm going to start doing it again. All the time.
Oh, no.
My wife hates me. So,
announcer man.
Fred, you know what time it is. It's time for what's become a bi-weekly. No. It's time for the America's favorite. It just happened last week and it's happening again, Fred. It's time for Fredline News.
Fredline News. It's like we run out of material or something.
That is my fart. Allan has his fart that he gets me with. I always get you with the sponsor by Bang Bros.
With the brain, bro.
Yeah. Wait till he changes it, and then I'm like, wait, it's sponsored by what? Sponsored by Dave Edwards.
Bang Pose.
Not sponsored by Ryan Hates Everything, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of that, we were on before we get to your first Fredline. Sorry, but we were on Ryan Hates Everything. Their show that just aired, their last one. You should come check it out.
Yeah,
I don't know how it is. Also, check out the guys. They're awesome. Just check them. They're good. They're good.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah, they're good dudes.
Not as good as
pretty
us.
Much northern Black Lincoln Collective, but
right, they're the northern branch.
Name. Yeah, the northern branch.
Maybe we can talk them into it. We'll absorb them.
Yeah.
But I think we might have a visitor coming. So hold on one second. But yeah, so also check me out on the Jock Doc podcast, which is a podcast that I was on recently, and I made an ass of myself. So make sure you see that because it was worth it.
The Jock Doc.
Yeah, so Fred, jockdocpodcast.com is the last one, and I literally used every accent that I could, which is 4 apparently. So it was something else, but you should check it out. They're really funny dudes as well. So check them out as well. Of course, now Fred, what is Fredline number 1?
Fredline number 1. So a small Buddhist temple in Thailand has been left without any monks after they were all dismissed. Can you guess why, Matt?
They all had the farts.
No, they all failed drug tests.
What?
Drug test.
They drug test monks?
4 monks, including the abbot, tested positive for methamphetamine in the North Province of Fetchabun, Thailand.
All right. So meth, like meth?
Meth. That's messed up.
What?
That's so messed up, man.
He hit us right off the beginning, Alan.
How messed up is that? How messed up is that? $4.
I feel like you got that whole. How many?
4 monks smoking meth at a Buddhist temple, and now there are no. What a mess! It's so messy.
That's amazing, Fred line.
They stopped monkeying around. Over
there. It's just going worse and worse. I love it. So, all right. So, what's your Fred line news bit number 2?
Oh, okay. I was still on the monks.
About Bang Bros. Oh, is there more
on the messy monks? But no, it's fine. It was an undercover a crackdown. The police had said that they drug test all the monks and they all failed. And now the people don't have anybody to
sell drugs.
Yeah, buy drugs from.
I guess, yeah.
Don't have anybody else to buy drugs from.
People don't have anybody to worship with or whatever. Like, I don't know what monks do.
Yeah, what they did was the people would give the monks gifts and the monks would bless them.
And so
for like good luck. Yeah, they would give them food. Yeah.
It was like, I got this meth.
Wow.
They would have the little kids go up there and watch cartoons, on the TV.
But Johnny Chimpo.
The TV disappeared.
One week,
what happened to the TV?
The next week, all the statues were gone.
Yeah.
The next week, they were just in underpants and like.
Did you know those statues was made of real gold?
Good deal on that. That's crazy. Well, that's Thailand for you. I guess it's weird, but all right, Fred. So, what's Fredline news? Fredline news bit number 2.
Number 2, a Tulsa man fired shots at his family during a heated, drunken Monopoly game.
Sponsored by Bang Bros.
Police came. He went directly to jail. Did not pass go and did not collect $200.
It's terrible, man. I love it. So, okay, wait a minute. Run that one by me again because that was a quick one.
Okay, so East Tulsa man is learning what it's like to go to jail.
East Tulsa.
East Tulsa. Police arrested.
We should get Conrad and Shannon back on.
Yeah, maybe they know about it. Maybe it was Conrad.
Check him out, conradio.com.
He seems a little wild.
Right, he could.
He might have shot at that dude. They arrested him Saturday evening after he fired a round at his family during a heated, drunken round of Monopoly.
Damn.
It escalated quickly from family gun night to furniture being turned over and game pieces night. All over the floor.
Well, yeah, you got to. I mean, if you're going to shoot somebody, you got to flip the game over first.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, you got to turn the game
before shooting your family.
They're not saying why, what started the argument or altercation, but he probably got caught stealing money out the bank.
Right. You know exactly what happened. Man. He was shortchanging somebody, or somebody was shortchanging him. They got real in Monopoly, dude. But that's the thing about Monopoly, Fred. Have you ever played a whole game of Monopoly?
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to play with me because I will crush you.
Hours.
I will crush you though.
No, you won't.
I will crush you.
No, you won't.
All right, we're gonna live stream again.
Black Lincoln Collective.
How many people Monopoly. Can we have do Monopoly?
I think 6.
Yeah.
All right, we'll recruit our team, our squad.
Yeah.
We'll have a 6-way Monopoly live stream for 7.5 hours. Because that's
we can get all our guests to be on one team.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah. We'll work it out. Yeah. It's a great idea, Fred. I'm glad you had it. All right, go. So we'll get ready for that. That's gonna be our Christmas special. We're gonna live stream Monopoly for everyone to see. All right, so what's Fredline news? Fredline bit number 3.
Okay, it's kind of drying up in here, but
that's what she said.
Gotcha.
All right, here we go. We're gonna do one about Florida woman, not Florida man.
Oh.
So, a Florida woman is suing Kraft for $5 million, saying her Velveeta microwave mac and cheese takes longer to make than advertised.
She's suing for how much?
$5 million. That's a lot of cheese.
That's a lot of cheese. You're right. That was a lot of cheese too, Fred. Double cheese on that one. Maximum cheese.
Cheesiest.
It's the cheesiest. Remember that guy that had that voice that did that? The Kraft voice guy?
Yeah.
It's the cheesiest.
Macaroni and cheese. It's the cheesiest.
It's the cheesiest.
Yeah. She's saying that the box says that it takes only 3.5 minutes to
in the
prepare, but she must like hers extra crispy. But she's saying that it took 5 minutes.
Oh,
and I think what they're saying is 3.5 minutes in the microwave. Yeah. But she's counting the other minute and a half to mix the ingredients, put the water in there, stir it up.
Damn. Well, I mean, and she could have just a microwave that sucks.
What's her name? Karen? Is her name Karen?
No, it probably is.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be that her microwave sucks. So you can't, there's no freaking way she's going to win that.
No, she's
if
not.
She does win it. I want part of it.
She's got it. Yeah, if she wins it, I'm going to get me some.
You count all the times I made macaroni and cheese. And all that time, all those 1.5 minutes I wasted. I could have solved all the world's problems by now. I could have been the next Elon Musk, but I was too busy making mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Yeah.
Nope, I've lost 17 minutes.
And then come to find out, it was your microwave.
Right. Yep.
The whole time.
It was your damn microwave.
That's crazy. That's people for you, though, man. That's wasn't it in the 90s when all that frivolous lawsuit bullshit kind of started, where everybody?
Yeah, I think they made a law against that in California.
Yeah,
in California, you can't just come into court with these
kangaroo
stupid ass frivolous lawsuits.
California.
Indeed. That reminds me, tonight's show is brought to you by Hey Fred. It's Christmas season. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Did you know it was a Christmas? Yeah, Vizio. Sponsored by Vizio.
No, it's not Vizio.
It's Vizio.
It's
no, we can see it in our case.
It's right for us. Right?
It's right for us.
For the radio listeners, Fred has a gigantic orange Vizio sign directly behind him at all times. He has decorated it for the season. Lovely.
Everybody was shitting on my damn.
No, I get it. Well, your background was bare sheetrock, dude.
I know. Well, no, I had a towel up there, a blanket.
Have a towel. Is that making better, Fred, when you say it out loud?
Huh?
When you say it out loud, does it sound better?
It does.
Like I covered up the sheetrock with one towel. Why didn't anyone compliment me on it?
Do you want to know how I got this big orange Vizio?
I'm gonna guess off a box of some sort.
I did. I had to buy a TV, Matt.
Oh, you buy a new TV?
I did buy a new TV. Didn't have to, but kind of had to.
Did you do the Black Friday?
No. Well,
tell us.
My son got mad.
Oh no! Oh man!
At his video game.
Welcome to my
and
world,
threw this at the TV.
Okay, that doesn't seem like that. Fred is holding a small plastic pick / comb.
It's a rat tail comb.
A rat tail comb. Classic.
That busted the TV.
Hit it directly.
Oh.
Boom. Spiderwebbed it.
You spiderweb his ass?
Welcome to my world, man.
Yeah, I know. You were the first person I thought of
Welcome to my world, dude. Yeah. It sucks.
Doesn't it? Motherfucker. Had that TV 5 years and that TV had another good 5 years in it. You know what I'm saying?
TV. Yep. Can't get another TV like that one.
Nope.
Sad, buddy. I'm sorry to hear that. That's the saddest. You know what, Fred? I'm gonna venture to say that's the saddest story that's ever been sponsored by Bang Bros. I don't think most of theirs usually end happily.
Not the homeless 18-year-old girl who will do anything for money.
Give her money sometimes.
Sometimes.
And that reminds me, Fred, tonight's episode, other than sponsored by Bang Bros, is also sponsored by seafood flavored candy canes, clamdy canes, Fred.
Ooh.
Some holiday traditions are so tightly associated with the Yuletide that missing them would almost mean canceling Christmas altogether. Calamity Canes is not one of those.
Calamity Canes.
However, you can get 6 of them, and you'll wish you hadn't. ClaimeToCanes.com.
Oh my god!
So, Fred, do you have any more Fredline newses for us?
No. I got some Hollywood news I want to talk
Let's
about.
hear it.
Okay.
What was the Wow! Somebody's on it today, man. Somebody is on it today.
That was amazing. Now, don't fuck it up, Fred.
No, I'm not gonna fuck it. So, Clarence Gilliard died at age 64. Now, you may remember Clarence from great shows like Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh yeah,
he was the black guy.
Right.
Matlock. He was the black guy.
The whitest black guy.
And Top Gun, where he was the black guy. And coincidentally enough, in the movie Top Gun, his name was Sundown.
Because it was dark.
Not saying that's why his name was Sundown.
I think that's
but
what you're saying.
I can imagine. He was also like my favorite movie that he was in was Die Hard.
Okay, sure.
He was the black guy.
The other black guy.
There were 2 black guys.
There were 2 black guys.
That's what I'm saying, dude. He was the other black guy.
Yeah.
There was 3 because there was the limo driver.
Oh yeah.
And then the cop,
there was
and then
Carl.
him.
Yeah,
Yep.
Carl, and then
So he was black guy number 2 or 3.
He was black guy number 2.
He was the smart one.
He was smart brother.
Yeah, he had glasses.
That's true. Yeah.
Smart brother. Yeah.
R.I.P. to him.
So okay, another big death that just happened today was Christine McVie from the band of Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac, but not
really
the other girl.
Person.
The other girl from
right?
Not Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
Not Stevie Nicks, but the other female vocalist.
Yeah, but she was apparently the writer. Yeah, and she was also a vocalist.
Yeah, she was a big writer for the
Yeah.
She was Fleetwood Mac.
Oh,
yeah.
She was the Fleet
she passed
part
away.
or the Wood part. I don't know which one.
On a
Do you think they each put a part of a name?
What?
What?
They put a part in her name.
I said, you think they each one of them was like, well, I'm gonna be called Fleet.
Yeah.
The next was like, I just want our name to be Wood. And they were like, no way, dude. Max the way to go. And
Max.
put it all together.
Stevie Nicks didn't get it. And she's like,
Yeah.
what about Nicks? You know what I'm saying?
Nick. And they're like, nope, too late.
Well, how about Stevie Fleetwood Mac?
Yeah.
No.
I get your goat ass out of here.
On a happier note in Hollywood, the trailer for Cocaine Bear was released today.
We talked about Cocaine Bear. For you guys who don't remember, we talked about it 2 months ago, probably.
Yeah.
And we're excited for it at the time.
Like the trailer makes me even more excited.
Are you more excited for it or less excited?
No, I'm more excited.
I'm
more excited, man.
For some reason, I had it in my head that it was going to be a serious movie, and I really don't know why I had it in my head that it was going to be that.
Cocaine Bear.
Yeah. So the first time I saw the trailer, I was like, this is not what I expected. But I thought this was like a legitimate movie about a cocaine fueled bear.
But this is a true story too.
Well,
like
it's loosely based.
It's loosely based on a true story.
Hey, it's going to be on the big screen, so it's
yanking
free to
people
me.
through the forest and like disemboweling them left and right.
Well, what else would a bear on cocaine
the bear
do?
They do it. What was that movie? The
That was a great jump. That was a great jump, man. Man.
First time, I'm sure you can understand. The first time I was like, I don't know about this, and then like I was like, let me see this again real quick, and I was like, all right, this is gonna be cool.
It's a good movie.
It's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be good.
I think
it's on my watch list.
Yeah. Well, I get it. So, Fred, I got a question for you.
Yep.
Have you heard? And we didn't do any food chat down here. We did some food chat on Ryan's show earlier. Have you heard of a dump dinner? I know you aren't eating right now.
A dump dinner?
Do you know what that is? Have you ever? It's a TikTok trend, and I've been seeing them more and more lately, and it's driving me crazy.
And y'all were talking about food. Oh my God. I was like,
Fred can't eat tonight. So dump dinner is when Okay,
I'm
not
about
to
go
be
take a dump dinner.
not to be racist.
There you go. Dumped it.
I don't want to be racist about this.
Oh,
Fred.
here comes the racism.
No, it's reverse.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
anything, it's fine. So it's when white people put like all the food elements on the table, and everybody just eats it with their hands. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Man, what are you guys coming up with this shit?
Right? I don't know, dude.
Forks,
Just put all the food elements. What do you mean? Like,
okay, hold on. I'm gonna
I put the food there, and then instead of using plates, you just eat it with your hands.
Right, you eat it just like you just eat it like with your hands, and it's gross.
What's wrong with you people?
Look, let me see if I can find.
there is a African dish that's made like that. Fufu, yeah, you eat the fufu.
Yeah, but you still eat it. It's still in a bowl. This is not even in a bowl.
So, are you talking about like a crawfish broil or something?
Almost,
No,
but not with stuff like
you just put it on the table and just pick it up with your hands.
Fried chicken.
All right, look, here you go. So, all right, so watch. Here's what they're doing. All right, see, kept it a surprise. They put all the food on the table.
That's not even
And then
hell
make the
no.
food
Who gonna
on
clean
the
this
table.
shit up?
Right. And so look, at least they're using forks. I've seen it where that some of them don't even use forks, Fred.
Just use their hand.
Just like lick it up. They do nachos like that. Saw a lady do spaghetti and meatballs. One guy did had a party, and the whole party that was like the thing. And I was like, dude, I would not eat one fucking drop of food on that party.
Them kids gonna grow up and be fucked up,
they're not gonna. Man, basically,
they're not gonna give a
people
shit. You know what I'm saying?
To clean and stuff, man.
Right, like, you're just gonna do this where people can freaking see. Look, this party. Look at this. Look what they made. This entire plate of a whole freaking table.
No, we did that one time
spaghetti.
with like nachos. Yeah, is that ketchup?
That's spaghetti sauce. Well, it probably is ketchup.
That was ketchup.
Very
She was
white.
squeezing that out of a bottle.
Oh yeah, and then those are some Olive Garden breadsticks.
Nah, man, come on.
So, and there you go. And then you can be disappointed with that.
Fucking flavorless.
I'm telling you, dude,
Spaghetti.
it's a shame. It's a shame that it exists in this world.
Chef
And I had to say
rolling
something
over
about
in
it
his
because I saw
damn
it.
grave, man.
And exactly. Well, you know what? I think everyone is rolling over in their grave in this situation because it's just gross.
That's nasty.
Like it's just gross, and like they just get it with their hands. Oh,
We did that with we had a party at the house and had like a taco table.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of
We had like
different.
silverware.
But everybody got plates and you just
Well,
put it on your plate.
They don't have
you
no
know?
place. They just eat it off the table.
Just eating off the table, man.
Like animals.
Put it on the floor.
Might as well.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen is all of it's going to end up on the floor of my house.
Right.
Jeez. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Fred. So that's my big news for the week. Is those?
Why'd
are
you
gross.
bring that up? Even that? Come on,
Just to ruin Fred's night.
Just
That was
piss
my
me
only
off, man.
goal.
I
Just
can't
made you
even
as a-
eat nothing, and I gotta
Yeah.
watch this shit.
No,
You gotta
but
watch
I mean,
them
at
not
least
eat
it would have
all
been
that.
nice if you put steaks or something on there.
Yeah.
Well, if I did that, I wouldn't be mad about it. I still would be mad about it.
Yeah, but it would have bothered Fred more.
You don't just put it on a table.
Yeah, y'all was talking about tomahawk steaks over.
Yeah, I know. I did that on purpose too,
You motherfucker.
With a little bit of A1 sauce on it.
Oh,
and then
stop it.
potato
Oh, my
meat
God.
Dripping from the bone.
I'm a fat guy. My stomach is touching
Yeah.
my back right
I
now.
know, dude. I know you're
After the podcast, I ate some burritos and they were good.
Yeah, I had some eggs.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm going to pig out tomorrow.
I know you are. Yeah, you're not going to want to.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna
There's
be
gonna,
farting
there's gonna
so
be
much
Freddie in the
that's gonna be
car.
hilarious. Just keep your finger on that button, Alan.
yeah.
It's gonna be like this, actually.
Yeah. Oh, my colon, my colon. It keeps a rolling.
So gross. All right. Well, Fred, I think we're gonna call it a night. I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
get some sleep before your big day tomorrow.
Yeah, I got to take a.
Next
another
week, Frederico
round
will
of-
join us.
You gotta go to Grumpy.
No, that's the thing. I haven't done anything
He's
yet.
having a sex
God,
with that,
I've been
done that?
drinking this stuff since 6 o'clock, and I ain't partied.
keep saying
not one
colonoscopy.
time.
Yeah, because you're not taking colon blow.
That's what I need. Some colon blow.
Right,
That's
you
what
need
I.
some colon
I
blow.
that
Yeah.
was a great commercial, by the way.
Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman. Yeah.
Thanks to our friends at Colon Blow. We're gonna have a lovely night.
Am I saying it wrong, Matt? Am I not having a colonoscopy?
You know that's correct.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you're
I
right,
thought you
yeah.
were
I
saying
mean, I
that.
don't know what you're having. I thought you were having a sex change.
That's what I thought so
I
too.
mean, what's the difference? I'm not a doctor.
I'm having an addictomy.
There you go. I think that's what I had. That's what the guys told me I needed. I think that's the last thing I need.
I'm sorry. I stole that joke from Ryan.
No,
okay.
It's fine.
It's
ours now.
Credit.
We've been around longer. It's ours.
Yeah,
right. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Before we leave, again, thank you to Dave Edward for everything, for coming on. Check out his book.
Yep.
Atlantis. What was it called, Alan? I should have had
Atlantis.
Final definite.
Atlantis solved.
Final definite.
Exactly. Also, Panama Red and all those other books on Amazon. Frequency99.com. I know we're so bad at this, dude. Frequency99.com. Don't forget about Clam Decanes. And of course, check out our buddies over at the Ryan Hates Everything podcast. You can listen for us, and it's probably going to be a fucking mess.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It was a mess. I'm sure it was a mess.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute. Every week at the end of the show.
What are you doing?
We're talking about Ryan Hates Everything?
Yeah, we're talking about that guy.
Fuck him. That guy, I don't like that guy.
You're Team Steve, aren't you, Satan?
Yes, Team Steve. Yeah. Team Steve, motherfucker.
Steve and his mustache.
Yeah, Steve got a mustache, sexy mustache like mine. Yes. That's what I'm talking. Right now, I'm doing a thrust move.
Oh, he's thrusting his
He's thrusting.
Yeah, thrusting. There you go. How you like that, Ryan?
I can see it. I can see it in my mind.
Yeah. There you go. Team Steve forever. Oh, damn it. I forgot to change my name again. Damn it.
Hi, Satan.
Oh, goodbye.
Good night. All right. So yeah, check them out. Check out everything. YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. Twitter too, and our Instagram and our TikTok. We love you. Thanks for listening, everybody. Eric, keep fighting. You're doing a great
Eric,
job,
love
man.
you, man.
And say good night, everybody.
BL, see you later.
BL Seasons greetings.
Got me. I would have never got that. Damn it.
You waited months.
It's so simple. It's so simple.
That's right. No, that was awesome.
Oh my god.
You gotta kill the.
I'm glad you didn't tell us.
Yeah, dude. I was like, I had to hold up with this.
Yeah.
We are laughing. And we are very good friends. Good buddies sharing a special moment.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Just hang loose, blood. She's gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
Get to the chopper!
Oh, what a day. What a day.
Well, that's all, folks.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Goddamn hip. Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
As you know, I'm a man of special needs.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.